Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome to another video. Today, I want to talk about something very important and near and dear to us all, and that is to talk about what our wish list is for Football Manager 2020, because that's how numbers and years work. 2020. In this video, I'm just going to talk a little bit, just sort of chatty style, about what I want to see. But more importantly, is I want you guys to put in the comments what you want to see. And not just, I want to see new stuff that you want to see, improvements to stuff you want to see, and things you want to see fixed. But what I would urge you to do is don't be a dickhead and just go, game's fixed and broken. Because that's how I imagine you all type. Put some actual thought and paragraphs and constructive criticism and features, because Sports Interactive will watch this, trust me. So I want it to be useful to Sports Interactive. So I'm just going to talk about a few bits that I really want to change and really want to see improved and fixed and stuff. And I want you guys to really get involved. Pause the video at the end, when you finish the video, take 10 minutes, write in exactly how you're feeling about the game, what areas need to be strengthened and stuff. So I'm just going to talk about a few random bits that I really would like to see. Obviously, for FM20, the features and what they're going to put into the game is already decided. We're a few months away from the release of the game, so that would already be decided. But any stuff you guys suggest can be then put in for future iterations of the videos and of the game and stuff. So it's really important that we offer our feedback, and I think this is a good place to do it. So there's a few little bits I'm just going to pick on, and I'll get to the match engine last. But I want to start off with saying a couple of things I really love about FM19, and this is brilliant. This bit here is amazing. It's so much of an improvement over the last few years with this in transition, in possession, out of possession stuff. I think this is a really solid. I'm sure that, like I said, we're going to disagree. I might disagree with you on what's good and what's not and stuff. So that's fine. If you want to disagree with things that I don't like or like, go for it. Like I said, don't be a dick. Just give us constructive feedback. I really like this tactics thing, and if they didn't change any of it, I'd be okay with it, to be quite frank. I think this doesn't really need much at all. I know a lot, as for that other sort of stuff, a lot of people don't like things like press conferences and job interviews and stuff because it's all the same shit and it gets a bit dull, which it definitely does. But then if you watch Match of the Day, all the questions are the same thing. There's only so much you can ask a manager after a game or when they sign a new player that's different. One of the things so I'm okay with the press conferences. I turn them off, to be honest. I let my assistant do it because there's not much more they can do. What I'd like to see, however, is and this is, I would say, a fix or an improvement, is job interviews. Because I could be in the game managing teams across the world for 30 years, and in a job interview with Real Madrid, for instance, they will bring up the fact that I don't have a very good relationship with my players because I once told a player 23 years ago that he couldn't be sold and he wanted to sell me, and he kicked up a fuss. And that seems to stay on your record forever. And also, I think there should be a pool, and the job interview questions are all too similar. And job interviews have the possibility to be much more interesting. So I think there should be all the general questions you get now, a mixture of them and stuff. But you could then have maybe a pool of 20, 30 questions where quite random questions. It doesn't have to be so specific about Football Manager or your tactics you used or not speaking the language. A question about what are your thoughts about living in Madrid. How about that? And have a pool of 50 that you just pluck a couple of random ones from, just to give it a bit of a mix-up. And maybe there's more you could do with the press conferences and other stuff like that. But like I say, I don't think that's really that big a deal. Another one thing I want to talk about, which annoys us all. Let's just pick a random. This is my old Venlo save from Twitch. Edmund Tapsoba. Okay, he's a wonder kid. right? He's a Burkinabe, as you'd expect, hotbed of football talent. And I'm like, this kid is amazing. He's valued at 425k. I do not want to sell him. I'm going to put his transfer, right, 120 million is my asking price. Basically a hands-off warning. What I don't want to see is bids of £3 million from teams ever. I know that when you get a bid, you can say reject all offers below a certain value and stuff, but I still like to see all offers. But a team should never bid, forget the fact he's got a minimum release clause. Milan should never come in with a £3 million bid. It should just never happen. What's the point in putting an asking price there if it gets totally ignored? Or another thing with the AI is that they need to vary the bids. Like, I've got a £10 million player and I want to get rid of him. So I'm transfer listing him for, say, £12 million. Okay, I get 6 offers. Amazingly, they're all for £3.7 million with 20% add-on and £1 million if he plays 50 games. And yet all the AI managers seem to have contacted each other to decide what they were going to bid, because all the bids are saying there needs to be much more of a variation in the AI transfer bids, just to freshen up and feel like they've not all colluded together. I think I like the transfer system itself. I like the contract system. I think that all works. I like all the different clauses in the contract. Actually, I would like one added. You've got a goal, I'll give you £1,000 if you score every goal you score, whatever. Why isn't there one for assists? Because if I'm signing a playmaker, I'm not massively bothered how many goals he scores. But every time you get an assist, mate, I'll give you a tenner. You can't turn that sort of money down. But that sort of contractual stuff is there as well. I'm just going to sort of click through the training stuff. I assume it's good. It's not something that I really... I can't be arsed with. But that doesn't mean I think it's a bad thing. What I do like is the fact that I can get my assistant to do it, and they seem to do a good job. They don't seem to fuck up. I like the new mentoring system over the tutoring system, the sort of one-on-one tutors. I like the fact you can make a group with a team leader that's got good influence and improve other players like that. I really like that. One thing I do wish is that mentoring you could include reserves and under-19s and under-21s, because in real life, a lot of the under-21s will sometimes train with the senior squad and everything. So it's not like they're disconnected completely. If you look at Melwood and Liverpool, how they do it, a lot of the youngsters will often be training with you because it gives them experience and mentoring. So my senior player, Danny Post, should be able to mentor a kid in the under-19s, because they will often train together and all that sort of stuff. Because I don't like having a massive squad that I have to scroll down 3 pages. Yet if I want mentoring to happen, I have to bring through a bunch of these players. Like, okay, this kid's really good. I need to put him into the senior squad just so he can I'm not going to play him, but I just want him to get mentoring. And that just seems a bit weird. Especially then, because now I make him available for the under-19s or the reserves. So that would have the same effect, really. Yeah, I just think that needs to just quickly be fixed. Scouting, I really like. It took me months to learn about the packages and stuff and remember where the fuck it was. It's a little bit clunky, I still feel. But this whole scouting report system is really, really good and stuff like that. The medical centre is fine. I generally play my players until their legs fall off, so I don't look at this too much, but I like the pictures of the men in their pants. Don't we all, is the question you should be asking yourself. I like all the team dynamic stuff. I think the base game of FM19 is as good as it's ever been. I think this whole section here there's lots of bits I'm suggesting, but as you can see, a lot of it's just fine-tuning, and I know many will disagree. Put it in the comments, write it out like an adult, don't just scream it's shit. Okay, but I think this is as solid as it's ever been. I like the dynamics. I like finding out who hates me. I like the social group aspect of it. All this stuff is good. I'm saying this now because I'm about to talk about the match engine. My hat's gone a bit pointy. Nobody wants to see that. This is where the game lets down massively. it gets better every year. The match engine, I know we go from sort of tweaks to better tweaks each year, and then occasionally we'll get a new match engine. There's much I want to talk about the match engine. Having played thousands of hours of this every year, I think I'm in a good position to discuss the match engine. I'll get to goalkeepers. The match engine is it's incredibly dated. Let's just put all our chips on the table. It looks like something from FIFA 1993. Okay, it is not very good looking, and I know that is not the main aim of the game, and I know it's not something Sports Interactive has the expertise of. It's not like, a big AAA studio that makes all these amazingly beautiful games, and therefore it's a lot easier for them. I know they work with Creative Assembly, who make Total War games, and that's how they've got some of their animations and stuff. But I think and you can almost see that if you imagine your team had a bunch of spears and stuff, it looks a bit like an older Total War title. It looks incredibly dated, and I'd love to see a modern match engine, but I know that is also a massive ask, because it takes a shit ton of time. It takes an absolute shit ton of time, and I can perfectly watch it. I don't think it's like just ugly. It's just a bit simplistic. And so in maybe a few years' time or whatever, I'd like to see a proper, sweet-looking match engine. But much more importantly, and I say this off the charts more importantly, is the way the match engine works. I don't mind if next year, the year after that, it looks pretty similar if you're just looking at the 3D match engine and going, okay, cool. The graphics look pretty similar. What the game misses is a couple of major things for me. One of which, there's two big things. One of which is the lack of collision in players. The fact that in a game in 2019, and I don't mean to be harsh on Sports Interactive, I know it's a big ask, but at the end of the day, it's not a little tiny indie company selling 50,000 copies. Football Manager sells 1 million copies. It's not a little game. They do all right for themselves, is what I'm saying. And the fact that there is no collision, there's no collision, i.e. players can phase through each other. You can phase through a referee as you're dribbling. There is no barging between each other, bumping off each other. What you'll see sometimes is, let's say your defender plays a big through ball over the top and your attacker is running at it and the defender is running at it, and they'll run alongside each other, and then randomly one of them will run off to the side. I'm getting head popping up here. Sort it out. One of them will just run off to the side and I'm assuming it's the game sort of saying he's got tussled off the ball, he's got barged off it, it's a 50-50 and the other guy's stronger. But it looks utterly crap. And you watch a football match and just see how, and pay attention to how much physical contact there is in a football match. And anytime people ask for things outside of football, like, oh, why can't I spend my wages on houses and girlfriends and cars and stuff? And the answer is always, no, we are a serious simulation of football and football management. Well, then if you are, you need to have players that can touch each other. Like, there is so much in that happens. Imagine FIFA with no collision. It would be bizarre. And I think that is, and I know that's a big ask, and that's probably part of a new engine. I don't do code, so I don't know the details, but we are talking about a wish list for the game here, and that is right up there. It is probably my singular most important thing, because it would change so much about the way the game looks and feels and plays. The other one that goes alongside that is there needs to be so many more animations for goalkeepers. I'll get to a series like goalkeepers separately, but just generally across the pitch, there needs to be more animations. Remember, if you think about, they did a lot of what's the animation thing when they just record people doing it? That. I'm sorry with all the technical terms, everybody. It will come to me in 2 days because I'm old. They record animations. So let's say we'll go into goal. We've been skirting around it. Goalkeepers, fucking awful. They're the worst thing in the game by a bazillion miles. They are terrible, terrible things. They are in the wrong position half the time. They do stupid, random stuff. They managed to improve the silly mistakes in the winter patch that they did, and they're a lot better and they make less mistakes. But there are so few animations that the goalkeeper always looks bad. And so what they do is they will, and I've seen videos of this, they will literally have a guy that is a goalkeeper in a studio, and they will watch him dive, and they will film him diving, and then they will make that into an animation in the game. But there are so many missing. So what the game has to do, let's say for instance, I'm the goalkeeper in the game and the striker's coming at me, it's 1-on-1. In real life, what you'll see, let's say take David De Gea, he's one of the best at it because he's only a little goalkeeper, is that as the guy's about to shoot, he'll make himself as big as possible. So he'll stick his arms out and his legs out, like a big starfish, and try and do that. In the game, that never happens because there's not an animation for it. In the game, he'll sort of do a weird dive or just sort of fall over to the side, and it makes it look so bad. And it's not because the coding of the football game itself is incorrect and the goalkeeper shouldn't be doing that. There is just not an option for that goalkeeper to make himself big. And I know this is because people always say this to me. Sorry, I'm messing up my words because I've so many shit going around in my head. Is that it's not the goalkeeper itself doing something wrong. It's just that it's not the game itself. It's just the way it shows it on the screen. So yeah, okay, he didn't make himself big, but it's just the animation that shows that. In reality, in the game code, it just means that guy shot round him and it was a good goal. If he was to make the save, he would show an animation making a save. But at the end of the day, the 3D match engine is what we watch. So seeing the ridiculous of the goalkeepers, weird stuff, falling over before the shot's taken, making a weird, pointless dive, I had one the other day where it was a horrific back pass, and the goalkeeper obviously couldn't catch it, but it was up in the air, so he had to head it, which is cool. But he walked 5 yards wide of his goalpost, that was going miles out for a corner, and he ran 5 yards wide of the goalpost just to try and keep it in, and he headed up in the air, and we scored because of it. And the goalkeeper would just leave it. And there's so many times, and this happens on outfield as well, where tackles are made, shots, players do weird things because there is not an animation to show exactly what he's doing. You never see, it was only recently, I can't remember, a few years ago, that back heels were added to the game. We don't see step overs. We don't see any sort of skill, lollipops, any sort of skill expression in the game other than an occasional back heel and a very, very occasional bicycle kick. There's no sort of pass other than sort of standard looking passes. There's no little sort of scooped pass over a player, and there's so much of football missing. Another thing with the goalkeepers is the positioning is just horrific. I was a goalkeeper because I was fat at school, so goalkeeper. But I also did. My nephew played for a kids team, and I was the sort of trainer of the kids team. And so I know a bit about goalkeeping, and they are all over the shop. They don't show their angles. They can't cover the near post. The goalkeepers are the worst thing in Football Manager. And I think most people will agree with that. So I think even if for this, and this is obviously my personal view with my wish list for FM20. I would be perfectly fine if everything on this screen and all these things were identical. Next season, it'd be great if there was a few tweaks and stuff. But if I could have other stuff in the 3D match engine that means I can't have tweaks to this for the next version, I would be completely fine with that. If I was, and I'm sure I have no insider knowledge with Sports Interactive, and I'm sure they're planning years ahead, and they probably are already working on a new match engine that might be next year or the year after or something like that. But for me, that is my number one priority. And also taking it to a sort of more grander scheme of things and wider scale is when you are trying to get some kid that plays FIFA to play Football Manager, you can take one look at the match engine and they're just going to laugh. Like, we only accept the graphics on Football Manager because we play Football Manager. We were there when it was just writing. We were there when it was just dots. So anything is a bonus to that. But trying to get new players into the game it's got to look good. Even though you might have all this spreadsheety stuff behind it and stuff, it will attract so many more people, I think, personally, if it just looked a lot better, the actual 3D match engine. And I know, and leave it in the comments if you're one of these people that play in 2D, not because they prefer 2D over 3D, they'd much rather watch it in 3D, but they watch it in 2D because it's less infuriating. And I think a lot of that infuriation, and like I said, it doesn't, the match engine looking better, let's say like more like FIFA, would be amazing. But I think more importantly than that is getting physical contact, unit collision into the game so that players bump off each other and don't just look like they're running off and randomly. And I would record 10 times the animations there is in the game now. If I've got a guy with 20 flair, I'd want to occasionally see him do a lollipop or a cheeky little pointless Ronaldo 7 step-overs in a row. Like, it would be so cool to see. Oh, a Rabona, sorry, that you occasionally see a guy cross, like, Rabona style, like, leg flick through the other leg thing. But I think that for me is by far the most important. Even if graphically it wasn't improved much, just tweaks that they do every year, but they included unit collision, which I don't even know is possible in this engine. I'm not saying anything is possible or not. That's not up to me. I don't have to do that, thankfully. But and at the very least, which I know they could do with this match engine, is have a shit ton more animations. So the goalkeeper looks like a goalkeeper. So strikers look like strikers. So defenders can hold off a player. Even if it's not got unit collision, because I know that's a big ask. Even if there's no physical contact, you can still have a player holding out his arm or something in the code. I'm sure of that much. That's all possible. But that's me ranting. I thought this might be a really short video, but once you get started. And I'm sure there's much more stuff I've forgotten to talk about. But what I want you guys to really do, like I said before, is spend 10 minutes, have a think about it. Or go away. Yeah, seriously, go away. No, I mean, go away, play the game for half an hour, play your normal save, and just, as you're playing it, maybe just write some ideas down of what you'd like to see. And come back in the comments and put down, with a bit of detailed description, what you think is broken and how you might be able to fix it, what stuff you like but could be improved, what stuff you hate, what stuff new stuff that you'd want to see in the game. One thing about using your wages, can I pay for my own fucking coaching badge, please, with my own wages? I'm sure should be in the game. I'm earning 50 grand a week and the board are saying, no, the club's financially, we're a bit rough, so we can't afford that 2 grand for the coaching part. I'm like, I'll pay for it. Please let me pay for it. Or as part of your managerial negotiation, I would like a new 2-year deal and you have to put me on a coaching course. That sort of stuff. Because as somebody who starts off at the lowest level with tiny little numbers and no experience and no coaching badges, it can be a massive pain in the arse trying to get those coaching badges done, despite earning money myself that I would in real life just pay for. So that sort of stuff, and getting a job where they can promise me that sort of thing I think is important. Right, there we go. Let me know what you think. Share this around if you could. That would be fantastic. Tweet it out and stuff. Put it on Facebook. I don't do Facebook, so somebody put it on Facebook. And try and get everybody involved, because all that I've talked about is just my opinion, and your opinion might vary massively to me. And like I said, it might. It's probably not. Well, I can pretty much guarantee it's not all going to appear in FM20, but let's give them ideas. One of you might say something in the comments that nobody's thought about at Sports Interactive, and they could go, right, okay, put that on the list for FM21. But make it constructive, make it useful, don't be a dick, and there we go. Well, I'm done. Definitely done now. Anything else? I'm sure there's like 15 things. But please fix goalkeepers. Bye-bye.